delighted to be joined online by John Michael Higgins to talk about the relaunch of the new series, spanning on from nearly 30 years ago now, the Saved by the Bell, where John will appear as the new Principal Rod Todman. I suppose, John, first of all, Saved by the Bell, I suppose, do you remember the original show, and do you ever remember actually ever watching it, or what were your memories of Saved by the Bell? And in terms, it's 30 years on now, to try and relaunch something like Saved by the Bell, which was so popular throughout the States, throughout worldwide. It was a sort of, many people grew up with those sort of kids, the Zach Morris, the Kelly, the AC Slater. What sort of entitled you or invested you to this project?
Well, you did mention in your intro that it was 20 years ago. But 20 years ago, I was too old to watch Saved by the Bell. So, I had already gotten out of college and everything. So the show was sort of aimed at a younger demographic than I. But I do remember it very clearly, because it was such a big sensation in the United States. No one was expecting it either. It was a sort of a dopey little, after-school type sitcom, and it just caught fire, and then suddenly everyone had to watch it, and it had a huge audience for 6-7 seasons, something like that, and then had a lot of spin-offs. And I do remember all those. I ended up
Yep.
Shows with him. He played Zach Morris, and I've been sort of put in because Rich be a credible principal, like he would have retired a long time ago. So they sort of stuck me in there. I was really thrilled to do it, though, because the writer, reboot, is named Tracy Whitfield, and I worked with her on a couple of things, and I had a great experience with her. I think she's one of the best joke writers in Los Angeles, so I was thrilled.
Yeah, and I suppose, John, I saw you recently there on the popular show, The Good News, with Portia de Rosa. I suppose you're known for your comedy humour, your sort of comedy sort of acting, be sort of playing these iconic characters. In the previous sort of Saved by the Bell, Dennis Haskins played the role of Mr. Building. This new Principal Ronald Todman, what sort of ideas are you bringing to him? What's he sort of... Is he very similar to the old Mr. Building, or is he a very sort of a different type of sort of principal?
Well, yeah, it was a different time, when when the original Mr. Building was on, and what I represent now is more of a sort of an authoritative class, older white men who have been sort of ushered out the door. I mean, I'm on the skid. That was absolutely not the case of the original, Principal Belding that Haskins played, and so my guy is a much more a weaker character, a defanged character, because there's definitely some jokes being made on the show about how this old authoritarian white principal is no longer in play in the culture, and so we make a lot of jokes about that, and it's kind of fun. It's much actually more fun, strangely, in comedy to play a weak character than a strong character. So I'm thrilled.
Yeah, and I suppose, John, the original location was shot on set in terms of a sort of a school sort of type production. And in terms of the new Saved by the Bell, are you sort of sticking with that same principle where many of the scenes will be shot from the actual school environment and in the Cafe Max, where most of the interactions happen between the youngsters? Will all your scenes probably be in the sort of the school environment, or will you try to vary it and go a bit different and open up more locations and more outside sort of shot locations in this episode or Saved by the Bell, or are you sticking to the mostly along the lines of the same original?
Good question. One of the big differences that fans will notice is that the old Saved by the Bell, the 4-camera show, it's basically a little play that is captured by 4 cameras, and the new one, the one that I'm doing, is a single-camera show, meaning it's shot more like a movie.
Okay.
So we can do locations. We do have a very detailed and extensive stage set of the high school, as well as the Max that you mentioned is exactly recreated to the salt shakers, and but we do. You're absolutely right. We are able to go out on location more and shoot in open air and do things like that. So it's been a really good mixture of both. We know that the fans of the show want to see Bayside High School. They want to look at it. They want to see the same hallway. They want to see the stairway, my office, and all that stuff. So that's pretty much recreated pretty faithfully with the show 20 years ago. But we are able, unlike the other show, to really break out and set scenes out on the football field or in another state or wherever. So it's been a lot. It's been fun to do both.
Yeah, I suppose one interesting aspect of the Saved by the Bell now from our research is that there's going to be second sort of generation characters. Instead of going away from, I know there's new characters introduced, but there's still some of the names still there. I suppose the name Morris, which was iconic with the first Saved by the Bell. Now Zach has a son attending this new Bayside High called Mac Morris, and Elizabeth Berkley, who played Jessica Spano, now she has a son called Jamie sort of Spano, who's played by Belmont Camel. So you try to keep some direct links to the original cast as well, instead of instead of wiping the slate clean and getting a new sort of youngsters. You felt that it was important to have that interaction with some of the original stars of the sitcom as well.
Yeah, it's not just the names, it's the actual actors. So we have on our show, Mario Lopez, who played A.C. Slater, very much, alive and well and on our show. He's in every single episode, and so was Elizabeth Berkley, and who played Jesse Spano, but each one, not A.C. Slater, he doesn't have a son, but Jesse Slater does have a son, and he's as you said, Jamie Slater. He's on the football team, and he's one of the kids. So, the kid group, which is 6, kids who are up to, no good and problems and all these things that just like the old Saved by the Bell kids, are a few of them are the sons or daughters of the originals. And the originals, in both the case of Elizabeth Berkley and Mario Lopez, are now teachers at the school. Okay. One is a guidance counselor and one is a PE coach, a gym coach. So we have a lot of cameo and guest star appearances by the original cast as well. I don't want to do spoilers, but you'll see a lot of people you recognize on the screen in the reboot version that we're doing now.
Yeah, and I suppose the first series, it was sort of iconic in terms of the sort of, everyone grew up between that sort of love interest between Zach and Kelly, would they or wouldn't they, the sort of relationship, and it was an integral part of the show. I suppose in terms of going forward, I suppose the new season of Saved by the Bell, they'll hopefully looking to recreate something with Mitchell Hogg, who plays Mac Morris, and I suppose that sort of diamond, he sort of, Mitchell Hogg, I suppose his role and his casting is so important because he carries, I suppose, the weight of the show in terms of he's resembling the new Zach Morris as such, so it's very important that he sort of blossoms and shines in his new sort of role, because people will obviously be comparing him to the original Zach Morris played by Mark-Paul Gosselaar.
You're absolutely right. He does have a bit of a weight on his shoulders, Mitchell, and but I think everyone will be very pleased with Mitch because he's a fantastic performer. He's very, very funny. And the Mark-Paul, who plays, of course, the original Zach Morris, is around as well every now and then. So we have great storylines that are surrounding the two of them, and it's very exciting to watch the sort of mantle being handed off to another young actor who's, this, as those Morris boys are, in perpetual prankster. He rarely goes to class. He's really good looking. He's beloved. He's a skirt chaser. All these things. So the old fans will be very pleased with the tradition of the Morris family. It is very much preserved from in the new actor, Mitchell.
Yeah, and I suppose, John, in terms of the original Saved by the Bell, we saw we were introduced to them as they were 13, 14-year-olds, just barely coming teens, and then we saw their evolution all the way up along as far as the college years. Are we seeing this new cast of teenagers? Are they a bit further on, or are we seeing them as 13 or 14-year-olds, or are we seeing them as more 18 or 19-year-olds?
Yeah, the actors, I think, in our cast are slightly older than the original actors were when they performed. They were really, literally 14, 15 years old. Our actors are a little bit more experienced, although they totally read as high school students. They all look younger than their ages, I think, and they're very, very skilled. They're very professional actors, so they're quite good at what they do, and I think so. I think you will. Should our show continue on, which I hope it will. I don't see why it wouldn't. It's fantastic so far. The stuff we've shot, and I think you will see them obviously age. These are young actors. They're going to age, and it's going to be interesting to see where they go. Just like watching the original cast. It's going to be great, though. It's really fun to hang out with these young actors. It reminds me of why I did it in the first place, what the fun part was.
Yeah, and I suppose, John, in the original series, Dennis Haskins, who played Mr. Belding, he had his sort of sidekick, his sort of pet student in in Screech Powers, that was played by Dustin Diamond. Do you have a similar sort of sidekick, sort of quirky relationship with one of the teens, is sort of similar to the original series, or do you have somebody, apart from your interactions with young Mac Morris, do you have that sort of sidekick sort of character as well?
I don't have a sidekick the way Screech was to Dennis's character, but because I don't have a serious sidekick. But what's interesting, the interesting addition in our show is that I have a sort of an interesting relationship with both of the adult versions of the kids. In other words, with AC and with Jesse, because we're peers, Yeah. So they're the people I'm sort of hanging out with and telling my troubles to, and all that stuff. But I do think you've sniffed something out. I think keep watching, and I think you'll see something along the lines of what you have just been describing. Yeah,
and I suppose, John, it's been a troublesome year for everyone in terms of the global situation, and I suppose it's great to hear that we're going to see a relaunch of a new series, Saved by the Bell. But in terms of your own personal projects, before COVID came to us, had you many sort of projects in the pipeline, movies or other TV series that were set to be released towards the end of the year or next year, or any sort of projects that we could see on our shores here in Ireland, whether it be in the movie screens or TV series that you're going to feature in?
Sure, yeah. It's like everybody, when the pandemic struck, it was like the worst possible moment for me, because we'd finished 7 episodes of Saved by the Bell and we owed 10. Yeah. So we were 3 short, and we went back into the studio recently, just a month ago, dressed like we're going to Mars, in order to shoot the rest of the show, and I had several other projects which are in the same boat. I had a movie that will be coming out probably in about a year or something like that, which was also a comedy, which was interrupted in the same way. And also I host a game show,
Okay.
which I should be, instead of talking to you, I should be shooting the game show right now, but that's been delayed as well. So I will shoot a new episode of that on in the new year. It's called America Says. I doubt you'd have it broadcast, certainly in Ireland, but any of your viewers could, listeners could absolutely, check it out on Game Show Network platform, which is, you can just bring that up on the internet. But yeah, I had 3 things going, and all of them were shelved. So I'm glad to get back to work, and I'm really glad to get back to work on something like Saved by the Bell, which is just so fun and funny. And it was, I think it's really, you were sort of hinting at this, it's really what the doctor ordered here with this, the global situation. I think it's just what people are going to want to look at when they turn on their television, because it's fun, it's light, and it's really a lot of, and it's nostalgic. It brings back a lot of memories for everyone.
And I suppose, John, will there be trailers released fairly soon, snippets in relation to maybe the pilot or something that people just sort of teasers to whet the appetite?
Yeah, that should be out. I believe there's a couple of teasers, trailers that are out there already, and we've got a lot of good response for them. I don't know if they got into Ireland yet, but they're certainly on the internet. But and those look really. I think they did a great job with those, and it really shows that the show is just it's just what you need at this time. It's really fun, and it's a lot of young, happy energy, and the jokes are superb.
Yeah, and I suppose, John, for the last 30 seconds now, we'll turn it over to your character in Saved by the Bell, Principal Ronald Todman, and you might advise all our audience and all our listeners here in Ireland why they should tune in en masse for the new series of Saved by the Bell and what's in store for them. Over to you, Principal Ronald Todman from Saved by the Bell.
Well, this is your principal, Ron Todman. As you know, please call me Mr. Todman. Do not use my first name. I'm older than you. And also, I am here to assure you that these episodes that you're watching will be starting exactly on time. So make plans to get there just 5 minutes early so you can sit down with your popcorn and your drink. I don't want anyone to be late. Almost everyone who watched the last episode in Ireland was about 7 minutes late, is what at least the graph I have in front of me says you're about 7 minutes late. I don't know if that's common in Ireland. I don't know if you just always start 7 minutes late, if 7 has some sort of significance in Ireland, but that is how late you have been. So if you would please pull yourselves together, and also whatever you bring to watch with, make sure it's something healthy. You're eating like pigs right now. You know you are, and you've got to just stop. Think of low-calorie things and not so fatty. I think you'll all be much happier. The sugar is fine. I have a sugar problem myself, and I can't say that I don't have a spare tire around my waist, but at least I hide it better. So just remember these things as you tune in to Saved by the Bell. Again, that's your principal, Ron Todman, and again, don't use my first name, even though I am permitted to do so. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy the show.
John, brilliant. On that note, John, Michael Higgins, we look forward to it with great excitement. For the moment, stay safe and take care.
Thanks a lot. It's been a lot of fun. Appreciate it.